Well, hey, welcome. Had a fun day ahead, picking up our college freshmen for bring them home during spring break. Have some extra time. Took time off from work, so we're gonna go on a little plein air adventure later on today. But for now, we're up early as we always are. Why not do an abstract multimedia piece? So we're gonna do that. I'm not sure where to start. Really have absolutely no game plan in mind today. So I think what I might do is grab some random object and use that to stamp out some quick drying thin layers of some material. So I'm looking around my studio. You can't see me doing that right now. And by the way, I'm using Cranston watercolor 7 by 10 inches, 140-pound cold press paper. And okay, gotta find something quick here. Hey, you know what? Right in front of me. I have this nice little wood chip, this slice of a branch. I've used it before. I used these to make Christmas ornaments this past and holiday ornaments this past November and December. I use this to kind of mask out some white space in a mixed media abstract painting that I did earlier this week. I'm going to use it again. This time I'll use it to stamp out some texture. I'll start here. I'll put a little paper towel off to the side. Gonna grab a little bit of white gesso, a big tub of it here because I use it to build my plein air panels that I use. And I'm gonna go ahead and just paint this guy with a little bit of gesso. I'm gonna do very thin passages here so it dries faster. And just stamp it down and lift it off. A little more on that one. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and rest that over here to the side. I'm gonna put my cover on my gesso and set that aside. I'm gonna go rinse out my brush. This is gonna dry a little bit. I might need to get my hair dryer involved here. Get some of those gloppier pieces lifted off of the tape. Just gonna wipe that off. Be right back. I forgot to mention, welcome to my studio. This is Open Studio Livestream number 40. We do this almost every day here on YouTube. Not a lot of explanation, not a lot of um, discussion. I just invite you in while I'm working, and whatever happens, happens. So appreciate you joining, checking out my work. I do have some kind of demo type videos and instructional videos if you look under the video tab on YouTube here, or even have some book reviews. So feel free to check that out if you're interested. But for now, we're just gonna kind of stream of conscious, just walk through this, taking off some of the gesso in hopes that it'll help this dry a little bit more quickly. And what I'll likely do is go to my trusty old vine charcoal here. Let's see, how wet is this? Still a little wet. I'm gonna go get a hair dryer so we can accelerate this process a little bit. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. We got our hair dryer. Okay. Let's see what happens. Not real noticeable right now. It may never be, those little marks we made. A little bit of water. So that's burnt vine or burnt willow vine charcoal I laid down. Now I'm just putting a little water on top of this, going almost in the opposite direction. Why? I don't know. And maybe we'll take some off, maybe we'll put some on. Using a little fan brush here. Paper towel, take some of that moisture off. All right. Interesting. The pattern left by this disc with the application of the gesso is hardly noticeable. It's very subtle. We might be able, you could see some of the outer edges. Yeah, we may play with that a little bit. Let's see. We shall see. Hold on one moment here. Go ahead and I'm going to get my watercolors. A little expensive pan watercolor set. I was going to avoid watercolors today. Let's give it a go. Let's go. Let's see. I'm going to go with we'll go with a green today, kind of like a phthalo green. Just reacting to what's already on the paper. Wherever I see kind of those rounded edges and some open space, I'll just lay in a little bit of color. Go with a little bit of a lighter green here. Alright, maybe I'll go with a blue. Maybe I'll go inside the circles with the blue. Watercolor will tend to sit on top of those areas where there's gesso and soak in where there's um, a paper surface. It is acrylic gesso, so it'll kind of repel most water-soluble pigments, and that's okay. This is definitely not about control. More about letting go. Alright, I'm thinking maybe I will go with more green. I'm going to go with a much lighter green, almost like a chartreuse. Go outside of these circle shapes that were created by our wooden disc that we kind of printed. Doesn't look like much of anything yet. That's one of the things, I mean, this might never come together to amount to much of anything. That's completely okay. I'm going to keep going with this just for a little bit longer, and I'm going to add in a little bit of purple. This almost looks like dioxazine purple. Let's see what happens. Alright, get the hair dryer going again, and we'll move on to some other medium. What I haven't used in a while, I haven't used my acrylic markers. I'm going to give these a go and see what kind of impact they might have here. Let's go with, stick with this green and blue theme here. Let's try it out. Let's go with the dark blue. Why not? Go with this darker blue. Kind of a big mess. That's okay. This may end up, as mentioned before, this may end up being a whole bunch of nothing. But it's not really what it's all about. This is just putting down marks for the sake of putting down marks. And today in particular, I had no game plan. I didn't anticipate I would make time for this live stream today. I was awake, so I figured why not. So these are acrylic markers that I'm using over the top of some watercolor, gesso, and charcoal. And let's see, maybe I'll take my soft chalk pastel white here and kind of go with the flow. There's these shapes that formed from laying down these areas. Use some of this to fill some of those in. Maybe I'll do the same thing with my charcoal, if I could find it. I think I lost it here. There we go. I like the way that that's working. Ah, skull, yeah. Wow, I see that. Huh, that's interesting. You just never know what's going to emerge from these. In yesterday's, somebody mentioned it looked like a worm slithering down a cobblestone path, which is really random. But yeah, I could definitely see where you might make out suggestion of a skull here. That's cool. So we'll go a little bit longer here and then we'll wrap up. It's funny, this was looking like nothing for a very long time, but then once the lines were added in and the contrasts were intensified a little bit, it's starting to see something, which is really, really cool. Uh, what else might we do here? You know, I'm gonna bring in a little bit of some more watercolor application here. That'll shift things a little bit, and I'm gonna go with my darker blue and quite a bit of water. A little bit of movement and variance in some of these textures. Okay. Get the blow dryer one more time and then we'll be close to done. It's going to accentuate a couple areas if the materials will allow me to do it. Might not work out. Oh, yep, see, taking paint off instead of putting it on. That's okay. Yeah, we'll definitely have to put some fixative over this. All right, I think we're going to leave this where it's at. I'm going to take the tape off. Quite a few things to do to prepare for my little trip today. We're going to head out to the Susquehanna River Valley area to do some painting on Plein Air. Some little mini landscape paintings. We're going to pick up our college freshman who's out there and head home. There you go. Kind of a neat little abstract piece there. Never in a million years would I have consciously thought to paint or draw anything like this, but you know, these little exercises, they kind of free you up. Um, Also, you learn a little bit about the use of textures and the interaction of different materials, and some of this will actually spill over into my landscape painting and work and my portrait work. So sometimes there's useful information that comes by way of kind of just thinking through this process and some of the accidents that might happen. Actually, the more I look at this piece, the more it's growing on me, which is interesting too. Anyway, thanks for checking out my Open Studio live stream. With any luck, we'll be back tomorrow and we'll just keep this going. We'll miss from time to time, but we'll get right back on the horse the next day if possible. And don't forget to check out some of the other content on my channel. Lots of shorts of time-lapse portrait work and pen, some landscape painting tutorials and demos and book reviews, and some hike and paint sessions where I'll take you on a hike, typically out here on location in the Poconos where I live. So thanks for checking out the work here. Stay well. Have a great day.